Are you one of those lucky people who's expecting a new little one this year? Whether you are currently expecting or you're hoping to be an expecting mother on the horizon, this is an episode you won't want to miss. Join me this week as we take a look at the fact that you really are what you eat, and it could never be more true than it is in the postpartum. In this week's episode, we take a look at how to plan and prep and what it is that you should be eating as you're recovering from bringing your miracle into the world.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Irizarry. I'm an Eastern medicine practitioner who is passionate about women's health and helping women live their best lives. My goal is to put you in the driver's seat of your menstrual health, offering period solutions for a symptom-free life. Statements made in this program are for educational purposes only and not intended as a substitution for medical consultation or advice. We do not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases. This podcast is inclusive and welcomes all gender identities. The focus of the program is on biological function, and we will use the term women throughout, but it is referencing physiological and social challenges for biology, not identity. Come as you are, I am happy you're here and welcome all performances of identity. I hope you find something helpful in this show.
Welcome back to another episode of the Reproductive Rebel podcast. I am in the later stages of my pregnancy, and so I thought that it would be a fitting time to talk about postpartum, since a lot of these topics seem to be lining up with where I am in my life right now. So, postpartum is one of those periods of time that we collectively in Western culture do not place nearly enough emphasis on allowing a sacred space for mom to heal. And I want to highlight how important what it is that you eat can truly be in this healing process. So you have just taken months of your life, the majority of a year, to build a little person and to bring that little person into the world. You are at the most chi and blood deficient point you will ever be at in your life after you have done this task. Because think about it. You have taken all of the fabric of your body, everything you had on board prior to conception, everything you've been putting in your body since conception. This little person has taken all of those things and put them into the miracle of building their little body. If you don't have enough of certain things in your body on board at the time that you get pregnant, your baby's going to steal them from other parts of your body because your body prioritizes building this little person. So if you're not getting enough calcium in your diet, the calcium will come out of your bones. This whole concept of pregnancy brain or mom brain, it's real because if there aren't enough certain fats in your body, your baby is going to take them from your brain in order to be able to sustain its growth and function optimally. So, and I even noticed this in my pregnancy. If I'm not taking enough cod liver oil or having enough walnuts, for example, I will have days where I feel significantly dumber than when I'm making sure to get these things in regularly. There's a huge difference in my brain function. I can physically feel and see the difference when I am essentially making sure that there are no nutrient gaps in what it is that I'm getting. So this is while I am pregnant. Now let's talk about postpartum, which is the focus of this episode. So the fourth trimester is recognized as the first 3 months after you give birth to your baby. You have just taken all of the substance of your body to build this little person and bring this person into the world. I know I said this before, but it's important because I don't want to diminish how much of a Herculean effort you have just completed as a result of bringing this little miracle into the world. And a lot of times we get bombarded with visitors coming. Everybody wants to hold the baby. There's a whole bunch of things going in a bunch of different directions. You feel like you have to bus yourself back and forth to a whole bunch of appointments for both you and for baby. Like this can be a really busy time when your body is undergoing a huge hormonal shift. So by day 3 of your postpartum, okay, so 3 days after you give birth to your baby, it is the equivalent of going from taking 100 birth control pills down to none in terms of how big that hormonal drop is. That's huge. Okay. And your milk is starting to come online. You're trying to bond with your baby. You're exhausted. You're sleep deprived. Okay. And in order to be able to make milk, if you intend to breastfeed, or you are just simply looking to properly recover, what you eat is critically important. And I can't emphasize that enough because what typically happens when we don't have enough support and we don't have enough help, we get really overwhelmed by needing to put food into our own mouth. And what we do is usually crap because it's quick. We can eat it with one hand. It's easy and it's the only thing that you can grab, right? So I want to take this episode and really emphasize how important it is to meal prep and make sure that you have certain kinds of foods on hand before you deliver. Okay. One critical foundational piece that every woman should have in their freezer and on hand ready to go is bone broth because it has such a dense nutrient profile that will help you to begin the rebuilding process as soon as you give birth. It will set you up for success with breastfeeding. It is quick and easy. You can just warm up a cup and drink it that way. You can have it as a base in a soup. So if you want to meal prep soups ahead of time, I would highly, highly recommend it. And I'll talk more about why in just a second. But bone broth is a foundational piece of what should be in every postpartum woman's refrigerator and their experience once they've given birth. It is really important to keep your foods easy to digest. Why? Because you've just had a little person taking all of your resources for a long period of time, and your organs are still coming back into position because this little person displaced them for so long. So your digestive function is more weak. I see posts all the time about postpartum smoothies, and it makes me scared because while they are nutrient dense and you can get them in with one hand and that's great, a lot of times in Western culture, we put ice or something refrigerated as the base. Your body cannot digest. It will make you feel worse. Your body will have to work twice as hard in order to be able to digest it. So if you are going to go that route, I would highly suggest using ingredients that are room temperature or warmer. And I can feel the audience recoil as I say that because we're so accustomed to eating things iced or cold in Western culture. But this is a big piece of the reason why we have a lot of digestive issues. Things really should be served room temp or warmer for the majority of what you consume. And that's not postpartum. That's just regular day to day. Okay. You are that much more gentle handling, let's say, after you have your baby. And you need every stinking little piece of what it is that you're putting in your body because you're physically recovering from one of the biggest things your body has ever had to do. And you're trying to nourish a little person on the outside of your body, as well as heal on the inside of your body, right? The placenta comes out, you have a dinner plate size wound. inside of your uterus that needs a chance to heal. And it's no different than if you have a wound on the outside and somebody says you need to rest in order to let it heal. It's the same thing, except to a much more extreme degree. Okay. And this is true whether this is a vaginal birth or a cesarean, it does not matter. You have just completed one of the most strenuous things your body will ever go through, and you are a freaking warrior goddess. But now you need to replenish after that huge output of effort with all kinds of good things. Okay, so I'm going to come back to the soups and stews. So you remember what I just said about the serving things warm? Okay, room temper warmer. This is why soups are your ally. And this is why they're your friend. Because you can do a very nutrient dense soup, but because it is served warm, because it is cooked, your body doesn't have to work as hard to break it down and use all of the last good bits of it. So I'm a big advocate for soups that have a bone broth base because you're getting the bone broth in a really easy way. And this does go for people who are also vegetarian. And I know that this idea is not super exciting for people who are vegan or vegetarian, but honestly, you are going to recover far stronger. You're going to recover faster. And there are statistics out there that say that for the vast majority of women, they're experiencing postnatal depletion up to 10 years after giving birth. That's a whole decade of feeling like you're not fully resourced. And believe me, I see it in my practice all the time. And when people want to have another baby on the heels of the first baby, if they haven't replenished their nutrients, they have a harder time with getting pregnant the second time. They have a harder time holding the pregnancy. Secondary infertility is a real thing, guys. It really is. And some of this can be minimized or eliminated entirely by making sure that you're eating good stuff and you're replenishing your body with the rest and proper nutrition that you need in order to heal the way you need to. And I understand as I'm saying this, that there's probably a lot of people out there going, that sounds nice, Adrienne. I don't have any help. Okay. This is why I had a postpartum doula on earlier this season. So if you have not listened to that episode with Doula Darcy, please go check it out. We talk about what it is that a postpartum doula does. And in our culture, we tend to spend more money on the shower and all kinds of cute little baby clothes. And believe me, I love the little cute baby clothes because there's nothing that makes me feel more excited than doing a load of these cute little baby clothes in preparation for my son to show up. But the baby gets all of the focus and attention, and we sorely miss the opportunity to hold mom. And believe me, mom needs to be held. Postpartum doulas are literally the angels among us because not everybody is near their family. Not everybody has a relationship with their family where they feel like they can ask family to come help take care of them. Some of us have created our family in the location that we're in or in the environment that we've chosen for ourselves. And we have the next closest thing to a blood relative in really close friends. But not everyone has that kind of support network. And I recognize that. And I also recognize that this topic can be kind of trickery for people because of their feelings around what they do or do not have for support from their family bonds, right? And I'm not downplaying that. What I am saying is that there is a way to create a village for yourself, and it is critically important to do so because help is not help unless it is help. Good meaning, well-intentioned family members can show up and be an absolute hindrance and not a help. And you still find yourself doing laundry and cleaning clothes and cooking meals. You shouldn't be doing that. None of that. Okay. That's what I'm saying in this episode. Meal prep. here are some of the things that you need ahead of time. Because then it's a matter of having things in the freezer that you can warm up and still get the nutrition that you need without all of the effort. Okay.
I'm going to pause this incredible episode to share an opportunity for you to join me as a reproductive rebel. As you know, I'm a holistic women's health practitioner who practices with a focus in East Asian medicine. I truly am one of a kind in the way that I practice, and that is a part of what makes me a rebel. I am here to disrupt a healthcare model for women and provide natural and effective solutions for all phases in a woman's life. Do you feel called to make a difference in women's health? Whether you are already a practitioner working in this space, wishing to add to your toolkit, or you are just a passionate rebel with a calling to make a difference for others, as I was at the start of my career in this field, the Holistic Women's Health Practitioner Program is open for enrollment. I am looking for passionate, committed, and heart centered people who desire to make a difference in the women's health space and desire to make it a place where women feel seen and heard, where their needs and concerns aren't gaslit, but really taken seriously and met with compassion and education to help them reach their goals. Does this sound like you? If so, please check out the program link in the show notes and schedule a one-on-one talk with me or join a free information session. Or if you know that without a doubt this is where you want to go, enroll and get started today. Together, we will make a difference for the future of women's healthcare. I can't wait for you to join me.
I have never met anyone as charismatic and downright passionate about women's health as Adrienne Irizarry is. Not only is it just a delight to be in her presence as a friend, but as a student. Her passion for her work, it comes through so prominently, and it helps ignite the excitement that lives inside of me as her student. We literally laugh, we cry, we share, we support. The knowledge is endless, and the infinite capacity of her being for this work and teaching and mentoring is just astounding. It's so beautiful. I can't think of a better instructor to be working with this topic. We are powerful. Women hold the most beautiful power within their beings. And Adrienne is the perfect example of she. She is the epitome of woman.
And now, back to the show.
So, yes, it's important to surround yourself with a community that can support you. I probably should do just an entire episode on that in and of itself. And I know I've talked about postpartum quite a bit over the course of this year. Yes, because it also hits home with where I am in my life right now. But I think that it is an area where we are drastically missing the boat. And it's showing up in maternal health when people try to have future babies. It is showing up in the perimenopausal journey. It is showing up in chronic health conditions. It's showing up in so many places. And in a lot of cases, when people have had children, you can actually trace the origin back to not having a really great postpartum experience. My first pregnancy with my daughter 13 years ago, I had a beautiful pregnancy and a horrible postpartum recovery. I didn't have enough help. I wasn't nourished in the right ways. I didn't rest enough. I didn't have the support that I needed. I had no idea as a first-time mom what I needed and how badly I was going to need it. And this is exactly why I am recording this episode and why I've talked about postpartum so much this year. Because especially first-time moms, you don't know what you don't know until you're in it. I cannot tell you the number of people who show up in my practice and go, oh my God, I wish I had known this. And I plan to put a course out specifically about best practices around postpartum, so stay tuned. But this is a real problem. It's a real challenge. And the sad part is a lot of people, once they get in it, they feel so awful because they're so malnourished, under resourced, under supported, that they're like, oh my God, I can't function. I can barely take care of my baby because their body can't show up for them. And it's not their fault. They just don't know what they don't know going into it. And we're so focused on setting up the nursery and the shower and all the things for the baby. But mom needs love too, guys. Mom needs love so much. And in those first 3 tender months after she gives birth to this beautiful little human, her body is weak. Her energy resources are tapped. She needs to sleep when she can sleep. She needs to be fed nutrient dense, easy to digest foods. This looks like bone broth based soups, goji berries, help her to rebuild and hold on to her yin, red dates. If you can work with an herbalist, herbalists have all kinds of tricks of the trade. I mean, Western herbalism has a huge materia medica specifically for women's health because that's a lot of its origin story. So reach out to an herbalist ahead of time and be like, what is it that I need in these first 3 months postpartum to really set a solid foundation for my healing? It is completely normal for your hormones to not be normal for the first 2 years of your baby's life. That's a long time. It took less time to grow the baby. So this is why I'm saying it is so critically important to look at what you're eating. Warm, nutrient-dense foods. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. The electrolytes that you were taking during your pregnancy are still important in the postpartum. Rest. That is a form of nourishment. That whole old saying, sleep when the baby sleeps, sometimes that's not possible, but you really need to negotiate with your partner how you both can sleep. The moms that have really heeded everything that I have told them in their labor preparation and postpartum process have figured out a schedule with their partner because their partner's working, but their body's healing. And when they're able to figure out how both people are going to get some sleep, everybody recovers better. Mom heals better. Mom heals quicker. You know, we have this whole culture of like getting back into your pre-pregnancy genes, right? I see things in Facebook forums all the time where moms are, starting workout routines because their doctor cleared them at 6 weeks. Come on. For some people, especially if you're not doing labor preparation and postpartum work with somebody who's a holistic women's health practitioner like myself, and you're not steaming and you're not getting certain herbals in your life and don't have certain kinds of support, you could still be bleeding at 6 weeks. Like, you don't want to be, but you could be. Like, there are so many things that are flawed with our system. They should be sending us for pelvic floor physical therapy right after we have these babies. 6 weeks does not mean that you are ready for exercise and working like you've never had a baby. We don't even separate puppies. By law, we don't even separate puppies from their mothers before 8 weeks. Like 6 weeks and you can go back to work and you're cleared and whatever, it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Your body needs longer than. So when people try to jump on that exercise bandwagon, you're now further depleting yourself. You're using more energy than your body has on board. Because remember, you're just coming out of the most energy deficient part of your entire life. because you just spend all this time building a small human. There's often a caloric deficit because they're going, oh, I have to get back into my pre-pregnancy genes. I have to lose the weight. We cannot in the postpartum think that way. We can't. Just like you were focused on nourishing your body when your baby is inside of your body, that same kind of intent and focus has to happen when this baby is outside of your body too. Nora tea, which is nettles, oat straw, red raspberry leaf, and alfalfa leaf. Nora tea is great in the third trimester to prepare for labor because it helps make sure that you're not iron deficient. Red raspberry leaf is a uterine chi tonic, all these kinds of things. Drink it when you're in the postpartum also. It's going to help put back into your body the good things that you need in there. It's served hot. It's going to help your body to recover. Your uterus is huge and it has to shrink back down to size and get itself back down inside the pelvic bowl. It needs energy and resources. So these are just a few quick and easy things, but I would highly recommend making sure you have Nora tea on hand. If you're not already taking it in the third trimester, I would start and make sure that you take it into the postpartum. Meal prep, meal prep, meal prep. This is one place where people get really overwhelmed at the very end and they don't have enough time, or they run out of time, or they feel like they're running out of time. The more things that you can prep ahead, and I would say do something easy. Put it in a crock pot. This doesn't have to be a stand at the stove while your ankles are swelling in the middle of summer kind of thing. It doesn't have to be like that. So you will put it in a crock pot. And then when it's all done in the crock pot, just put it into some glass containers and put it straight into your freezer. Easy. It's done. Food prepped, all set, right? Do one a week. That's it. Just one. One meal in a crock pot. Freeze it, put it in the freezer. That could get you through the first 8 weeks, first 12 weeks, depending on how far ahead you start. So it doesn't have to be a super labor intensive process. It doesn't. But like a chicken and rice soup with goji berries with a bone broth base, man, that is a winning combination for a postpartum recovery soup. There are some really great resources out there. Kestrel Gates has an excellent book about it. It's called Build Your Nest. There is a book called Ancient Kitchen Modern Wisdom that has some really great postpartum recipes in it. I'm not affiliated with any of these folks. These are just references that I have found have been immensely beneficial. And I use them in my practice. I recommend them to people in my practice all the time because this comes up a lot. What do I make? How do I make it? Soup. I know some of you don't like soup, but it's one of the best things that you can feed yourself. But like even curries, things that are brothy and easy to digest. I wouldn't go with the beans because beans can be hard on people's digestive tract, even when they are functioning optimally. Okay, so think about what is it that you eat when you've had a stomach bug and your tummy is delicate, but make sure that it is really rich in all of your minerals and nutrients. Keep taking beef liver, keep taking cod liver oil, keep taking magnesium, keep taking your whole food prenatal. These are going to help you to heal and to make sure that if you choose to breastfeed, you have what you need on board to breastfeed and to heal. Because your bleed really shouldn't be returning before 9 months postpartum. It really shouldn't. And if it does, it is going to make that rebuilding process harder. So mindfulness around you literally are what you eat. Make sure you're eating regularly. This is another reason why the frozen meals ahead are great. There are going to be times where you're nap trapped and your baby is sleeping and you are starving, and you can put a soup in a cup and literally drink it for the most part. So you don't need to worry about things that you have to eat with two hands. The more creative you can get around easy to digest, served warm, and thinking about what you can eat with one hand, you're going to be able to properly nourish yourself, because eating is super important. And just like showering, eating can be one of the things that mom forgets to do, or mom doesn't do a lot of, because she's so consumed, especially for a first time mom, so consumed with this learning process of what this little person needs. And it can feel really overwhelming. And while your hormones are changing like crazy, everything feels big and you're exhausted. And the idea of trying to make something to feed yourself is just absolutely overwhelming. So the more you can be mindful of having what you need on hand before you give birth, and, even if you miss the golden window of those first 3 months afterwards, it's not too late to feed yourself this way. So if you're listening to this and you're even 6 months postpartum and going, ugh, I wish I knew what I had known back then, right? Don't worry about it. Eat some of these things. These are going to help your body to recover. The more you can do to be intentional and eat well and nutrient dense and easy to digest early on after you have delivered your baby, the better off you're going to be. And you won't be one of those statistics where they have postnatal depletion up to 10 years. Okay. So reach out to my practice at Moon Essence and get more information. Let us sit down and talk with you about what it is that you need. Like I said, Kestrel Gates has a really great reference. Ancient Kitchen Modern Wisdom is a really great reference. Look up some of these books with some really great warm meals that you can either prep ahead or start making in your postpartum to help nourish your recovery.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Reproductive Rebel. Reproductive Rebel is recorded by certified peri-steam hydrotherapist and acutonics practitioner, herbalist, and Chinese nutritional therapist Adrienne Irizarry of Moon Essence LLC. If you are interested in setting up an appointment for one-on-one support, ordering from our store, or checking out our course offerings, visit our website at moonessence.life. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter and get insider information on upcoming events and offerings. Join the conversation. Like and follow us at Moon Essence Me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Your voices make this program possible. Thank you all for your continued support.